Then you can say the bullshittery. Just say the bullshittery. Just for a second. I know you finna say something. Her eating because she's pregnant. And then we're gonna get started with the topic with the topics. The baby said, "Let me eat, mama." Okay.
Being good, I'm a bad bitch. I'm sick of motherfuckers trying to tell me how to live. What? Hate under my pictures on the gram. You better hope I never run across your man. In the mall with him, I'ma have a ball with him. Somebody call Rihanna, I'ma buy some draws with him. He's f***ing with the state.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Council. My name is Chelsea Rakira.
My name is Jada.
And my name is Jaya.
And on this show, we're going to be giving our viewpoints of different social topics, what we feel about it. Some of these things are going to be pretty controversial because y'all know me. If y'all know them, we don't care. We don't run from issues. We speak on it. We don't care what nobody got to say, okay? And each show, we're going to be doing a poll on our Instagrams, kind of talking about those issues, getting your point of view from it as well. So the overall topic of tonight's discussion is going to be niggas ain't shit sometimes. You know, they just be out here ain't shitting. We don't get it. We're gonna dig into that a little bit deeper, but we're each gonna talk about our topics, give each other a second to kind of get their opinions on it. I guess I'll start first, and we'll hear Jaya's topic, and then we'll hear Jada's topic. We'll give you some time to really think about that one. All right. So my topic for the night is going to be: can you be pro-Black but date outside of your race? I think we're all gonna have different opinions. I think me and Jada's opinions may be similar, but I think Jaya's gonna have a really different opinion than us. I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Can you be Can you be pro-Black and date outside your race?
Yes. Can you be pro-Black and date outside?
I feel like in general, yes, but they have people who don't know how to draw their line in. Yes, I can date outside my race and still be Black and make sure my significant other supports me, understands me. And I think that's the problem when problems come in, because I feel like there's no problem with you dating outside your race and loving who you love, liking who you like. But problems come in when you love who you love and they don't understand you. And that's why I feel like I just say, okay, when people say they date outside there, okay, well, do they completely understand what being Black is like? Like, do they understand your feelings when you're in public, and if you're dating somebody while you're in public and they automatically look at you the wrong way, even though you're dating him or her? Like, I just feel like that's where the issues come in. Do they support you? Do they understand completely?
I definitely have to say that, just piggybacking off of what you said, because I 100% agree with you on that. And you know, I'm in a situation where I have a biracial daughter. I have a she's half Turkish, half Black, and I definitely have dated outside my race before. So for me, you know, obviously my preference is Black men, obviously, because I feel like they can relate to me. And I have noticed a difference between dating Black men and dating people who aren't in my race. I have noticed that I feel like with Black men, it's just something about a Black man that gets me that I don't feel like men outside my race have or can as of yet. But I will say I definitely have with Alyssa's father, race was something that I never felt uncomfortable tackling. He was that person. He was somebody who definitely, when it came to race, at least, he understood, you know, my plight as a Black person. Maybe it's because he's Muslim, you know, but he is very much a white passing guy. So he had the space to be seen and operate in this world as a white man, regardless of the fact that he's hearing all these negative things about his people, you know. So I think just even being able to connect with me in that level made it a little easier for us to date. But yeah, I definitely agree with you as well. There's some people who don't know those boundaries. There's some people who will date outside their race and allow the person of the opposite race to belittle their own people. And I find it's a lot in Black men. So for me, it's a lot less of whether or not you're dating outside the race, or if you're dating somebody who respects your culture, respects your people, loves you and your people, go out of their way to learn about your culture and how they can enrich your lives. And you guys are going to have little mixed kids together. You have to be able to be on board with allowing that kid to explore that culture too. And if you don't, you're going to raise a fucked up kid who doesn't love or accept half of themselves. So,
True. This is fact.
Big facts, because
Rita, do you have anything to add to that?
Nah, y'all really just said it. Like, that's really how it is. Like, in order to date anyone, honestly, even within your own race, you still gotta respect, you know, where they came from, how they grew up. And you can't lose yourself in that, or you can't judge them on that. You just gotta be understanding no matter who your partner is.
That is 100% true.
you
Let's
picked
not
a
get
good.
into the
You
usage
picked
of AAVE by everybody right now. It is destroying
you.
me on the inside. It is just like, because when I spoke like that, I remember being called a country bumpkin and ghetto and ratchet and all that. And now it's cool. So everybody do it. Like, don't even want to get on how much that irritates my soul. I've been alive for 28 fucking years. And I remember a time where I would hear white people say rap is crap, braids are ghetto, you're so fucking ghetto, dick sucking lips, blackie tar baby. I remember that time. So it's so weird to me that everything about who I am is now being uplifted as long as it's on somebody who's not me.
Child.
That
You know that is,
is weird.
that's a whole nother topic. We're gonna have to touch on that. That's a whole video of its
That's
own,
a whole video
because
itself. Oh my God.
even now still you find that a lot. And
What you
yes,
think?
when we talk about dating outside your race, you create kids who confused, but you also create kids who don't know which way to go. Po babies.
Mm-hmm.
Look at mulatto.
Well, I'm
No,
gonna tell you
not like
something.
that, but like mulatto, like she having so many problems right now because you got people telling her that she should change her name because they feel offended by the word mulatto. But then she also like, that's what I am, so I accept what I am. I'm black, but I'm mulatto.
Yeah, I feel like mulatto is interesting because again, it's about how you are curating those children's experience. I mean, for Alyssa, I feel like I'm not gonna have all the answers. I feel like as black as I am and black of a home that I'm raising her in, there's gonna still be people that tell Alyssa she's not black. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
reality. There's gonna still be people that tell my daughter that she can't participate in a culture. The only culture she knows. To be honest, it's the only culture she knows. Her mother's black, her aunts are black, her uncle's black, her grandparents are black, her cousins are black. Everybody around her is black. It's all she knows. But because she is biracial, she's gonna have, as much as I want to shelter her from that, and I want her teacher to be proud of who she is. She's gonna have that little aspect of feeling unwanted, and there's nothing I can do to protect her from that. There's nothing I can do to protect her from that, because the reality is there's so many people who are confused that weren't raised in the black culture who look like kinfolk because they're skin folk, but they're not kinfolk. There are a lot of biracial people,
Reach.
because they're biracial, you expect them to feel like, oh, you're one of us, and they don't. But there's also biracial people that are like, okay, you can tell they were raised in an environment where they were raised around their black family. So for some full black people, I feel like there's a little bit of apprehension of, is this person gonna be cool? Is this person gonna be just like that? And automatically we can sometimes prejudge people who are biracial just based off that alone, and get mad when they say things like, oh, just say anything when it comes to their race, or say, oh, I'm mixed, or say that I'm biracial. It sometimes can feel like they're trying to other themselves from the black experience even more. But
That, I'm sorry, this might be a little bit off topic, but that is one of the things that I don't know why I do not like that shit when someone has mixed in their bio, or they have light
yeah,
skin in their bio, or something
like
like that.
it's
Because it's like
like it's
that's
a
your identity, that's who you are.
mm-hmm.
That what? That's
Know
like me
what
saying
you mean?
big booty. You're reducing yourself to a big booty.
When we fill
That's
out
who you
work
are.
papers,
That
there's no mixed. There is no mixed box when you think. So for me, I don't ever want them. But also, I know that a lot of biracial people say, "Well, what do you want me to do? I'm white and I'm black. I'm white and I'm black. I don't want to just pick a side." And I'll be like, "It's not about picking a side, but it's also about one. That's your decision on if you tell people, oh, I'm white or I'm black." But I always feel like, yes, it's your decision, but you also have to remember that at the end of the day, you're still black. And I think my problem comes in, like, I don't mind when biracial people say, oh, yeah, I'm mixed. But it's also like, okay, when it comes down to it, do you throw your blackness aside? Because not all of them do.
One thing, but having that in your bio to me is a completely different thing. Like, if I ask you,
separate
when you
yourself
tell me,
from being black.
Having that in your bio for me makes me feel like you think the only amazing things about you are the ways in which you differentiate from other black people.
Thank you. That's what I should throw me off.
It makes it seem like you think you're special because there's something. I'm black and I'm mixed. This about me is different than y'all, so I'm better.
Right.
That's what comes
and
across.
that's why I say it's like controversial when you throw it. Like, I don't care what you claim. If you were raised by your white side and you identify with them more, then go forward. But I also want you to also remember at the same time that when it comes down to it, and you may be put in a situation that the rest of us are who are black, and you get pulled over by that cop and he sees that you have a darker skin tone to you, and he sees that you have a little more curl to your hair than a white woman, you're going to be put in a situation of being black. So when the hashtag is switched to you, do we say mixed lives matter? Or do you want us to include you in Black Lives Matter? Because at the end of the day, before this happened to you, you said you were mixed. You never identified with being black at all. So now that it comes down to when you're in a situation where now you want to claim your blackness, yes, I understand you're still black, but you never claimed us before something distraught happened to you, and now all of a sudden,
I had a client.
The black community is going to support you. Know that the black community is going to have your back.
So picking and choosing when you want to be black for me.
Right.
I get it. Yes. It's not.
I had a client who was half black, and this shit threw me off. So for those of y'all who don't know, I do hair. And she said to me that she was worried about getting box braids because she didn't want to look how some white girls look when they get box braids. She didn't want to look like that.
She's biracial.
She was not half black. She was not half white.
What was she?
She was half black and half Mexican. And when she said that, I was just like, huh? You look black. Your hair texture is black.
It's made for braids.
Why would you look weird with box braids? Like, that shit just threw me off. And it just makes me realize how disconnected we can be, or they can be sometimes, like mixed people. And when it wasn't like she never grew up with her black side of the family, she knew them, she grew up with them, she still knows her father and everything. And it was just like,
I knew that. That was very, I have a black dad energy for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was very, that was very white dad for me.
It was black dad.
It was a black dad.
That sounded like it.
Black dad versus black mom.
I made a video about this on my TikTok, and I pissed off a lot of biracial people, and I really didn't mean to, because but I definitely consider biracial people to be a part of our culture. They are black. My heart, that's what I feel. But it doesn't mean they are not. They are what is it, exempt from being criticized. I'm allowed to criticize.
The thing is,
I'm allowed to let you know, hey, what you're doing is fucked up, okay? I'm allowed
to. That's the thing, though. It's usually the women in the family that carry on the culture. Boom. So you have a white mom, you're gonna act a little bit more white. Boom. When you have a black mom, you're gonna act a little bit more black. And that's just how it is.
That's just how the cookie crumbles. Your mother is the one who nurtures you and gives you no matter how much you're
always gonna act more like your mom, because your mom was there for you since before you even existed. So yeah.
And which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You still are a black person. You still are a black
Right.
person, but you're not going to have. There's just something that I feel like
You're gonna
biracial
be a little bit disconnected.
other black people, biracials with black mothers and other black people can all tell when someone's mother is not the black one. We can all
But
tell.
it's crazy because it's like you didn't like we don't ask you to necessarily choose. We never the black community never asks biracial people to choose.
Right.
They choose and then they get upset when they're called out on it. It's like
Actually,
we don't ask you to choose. We don't ask you to choose. The only time we ask you to choose is when things happen. Bam. Tiger Woods, a great example. When he got into it with his wife, when he had the incident with his wife and she bashed him with the golf club. Before that, Tiger Woods never identified with the black community, never said he was black, none of that. He never identified. After she batted him with the golf club and all the white people bashed him and they were all over the golf community was exiling him and he didn't have anybody to talk to, any friends really, then all of a sudden he turned to the black community and was like, y'all understand what I'm going through. Y'all get me.
What did he call himself? He said he wasn't black. He was Polynesian.
Yes, like he never acknowledged being black. And it was like, we know that your dad is black. Like we know this, but you never acknowledged that. Now that you're in a bad situation, all of a sudden, oh my black people, oh my black community, y'all had me, y'all. But the black community is so tight knit that whenever somebody, celebrity, family member, no matter what you say or do, when something goes wrong,
We got your back.
we are there. We got your back.
Nice.
So my thing is that don't make that decision. Like, don't make it seem like, oh, when you're talking, oh, I'm mixed, and you don't want to identify as black, and you make it sound so bad to identify as black, or you make these little statements, snide remarks about black people or the black culture in a sense, and how you don't identify. Have you tried to identify? Because if you tried and you were exiled, then I completely understand on why you don't try, why you saying, why you feel how you feel if you did try. But for the ones who don't try and they have so much to say about the black community, it's like, okay, when something happens to you, you're going to turn to the black community.
That's true. And
now I got to intervene just a little teensy bit because there is a percentage of ignorant black folk out there that do say if you're mixed, you're not black, but that don't even make no motherfucking
No,
sense.
that doesn't
got
make
a bowl
sense.
of fruit and it's got oranges and apples. Guess what? It's a bowl of fruit with oranges and apples. It's not
It's
some.
still a bowl of fruit.
They're not different fruit. They're oranges and apples. You know what I mean?
there are even people who say this, Jada. Have you ever heard this one? There are black men who say this: "You're only black if your dad's black. If your dad's white, you're white. If your dad's black, you're black." No matter what.
That is foolishness.
You're mixed. You got
that is foolishness.
You're not a new species that just came out of nowhere. You're a black person and a white person smushed together. You're not a new race that never existed. You're both. You are black and you are white. And to say you are either one is correct. So telling a person who literally has a 23 chromosomes that's black, that they're not black, it's stupid. It's like cran apple juice. Is it just apple juice because the cran's in there? No, it's still cran apple juice.
I'm so dead. Who says stuff like that? But see, when it comes to mixed people who come into contact with people like that and they say, well, that's how I had a bad experience with black people, so I don't really think I connect with them. I haven't tried since then I'll be like, okay, I understand, because honestly, we can all say that one bad experience can change your whole outlook on the culture in general. Even though we try to say it doesn't and we try to keep an open mind, you always gonna have that thought in the back of your mind like, okay, are all of them like this? That's just how we are with white people. We know we've all had some kind of racist encounter with a white person before at a young age, and every time you meet somebody white, in the back of your mind, the first thing that comes to your mind is, are you racist?
Exactly.
Are you actually being genuinely nice to you? Or are you doing this and you're racist?
Why not just say that? That brings up another point. In defense of full black people, in defense of black people, listen, hear me out. In defense of black people, haven't we all had that experience with a biracial person that made you feel like they thought they were better than you? So when you see a biracial person, sometimes in the back of your head, you go, do they think they're better than me because they're mixed? So it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword that we all
Yeah.
have negative interactions with people, and we all
Right.
have those biases because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're right. I think our culture gives more grace than others though, and
definitely give more grace than
that's
others.
where we run into problems is because you have so many other cultures where they are quick to shun
Yes.
everybody. Like the mixed people, I'll compare mixed people in our culture to like the redheads almost of white culture. Like,
Yeah.
well, white people. And like white people are so quick to prejudge a redhead. And I've like heard other people talking, like friends and high white friends in high school, and they be like, oh yeah, my mama said I couldn't date her because she was a redhead. And it was like, she can't control the hair that come out her head.
Right.
The baby can't control that, and that's kind of like biracial and mixed people. Like we know you can't control that, but us in our culture, we are more willing to accept you. Whereas the white culture, it also depends on. All right, if you have a white mom or you have a white dad, what culture did they come up in? Because some of their parents are like, eh, eh.
Some of their parents
Some
are
of them
racist.
are like,
Was your
oh,
mother racist? Was your daddy racist?
so, but other cultures also are quick to push you away, whereas we might be like, and we don't like it that you went and had a baby with that white girl or that white boy, but she's still family. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I have a point to that. I have a point to that 100%. So, something I hear a lot of people who happen to be biracial say is, I don't feel accepted by black people. I don't feel accepted by white people. Nobody accepts me. And I think there's no sentence that they say that pisses me off more than that. And this is why that literally it sends a fucking I get so angry when I hear that, because it's like, yeah, you do have encounters where black people are saying negative things to you, but tell me something. Are you on White magazine? Are you on any white publications? Are you in white movies in an all-white cast? No. Black people, we put you on our magazines. We let you be our Miss Americas, our
True.
Black
Whenever it's diverse, it's
whenever
not
there's
just
a black,
all black people, it's all sorts of people of color, you know what I mean?
exactly.
But when it comes to white people, they be like, oh, there's a black girl, we're diverse.
Let's
Wherever
Mixed
not
girl,
forget that our
one,
president
we're
was
diverse.
our
wherever
first
there's
black
a black
president was
establishment,
mixed.
biracial people are there. If there's a black establishment or a black club, biracial people are welcome and they are there. But can you say the same for white people? So how can you compare us to them? That's
Right.
hurtful. It's hurtful. We literally let you guys come into our spaces and accept you as a one of us. And just because some people say stupid things, how could you look at the people who literally call you nigger and hang you and compare it to the people who put you in our spaces, give you our awards, praise you, support you, protect you? Like, it's fucked up. And that's one thing that really grinds my gears, and my daughter will never say anything that ignorant. I want to see the consensus of what people on my page think about whether or not you can be pro-black. We didn't really talk about that a lot, whether or not you can be pro-black and date outside your race. We got into this topic.
We can get back into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ease back into that one. So for me, I say, I don't know. Like, I wish I had a more clear answer for that. I definitely say yes, you can date outside your race to be pro-black, because look at me. I have a biracial baby and I've dated outside my race, and I've loved people outside my race, but I still love
think it really
so much, and my preference is still black men. Like, I'm sorry, but I still prefer black men. If the right black man comes along, I will be so happy. But on the same time, if a white guy comes along that treats me well, you think I'm gonna say no because he's white? No. If a Hispanic guy comes along that treats me well and marks off all those boxes, I'm not gonna be like, you're perfect for me, but you're Hispanic. No, like I'm not gonna do that. So I do definitely lean towards, like, when I see my future, I see a black man in that with me, but it can literally be anybody, or a black woman, or a Mexican woman, or a white woman. It could be anybody. But for me, it's just like, so yeah, you can, but at the same time, I do get the counter argument of, how are you going to say you are pro-black and actively create more confusion for little black people? So Alyssa's going to be confused. I can't do nothing to protect that. I can protect her in so many ways, but she's gonna be confused because she's a biracial person. And I'm creating that for more of my people, that confusion. And if she has a white husband, and I can't tell her who to love, if she has a white husband, there goes her being black, there goes that. It was like the Jacksons. Look at the Jackson Fives and look at all the descendants.
I feel like
Generation
I
and no
feel
one
like
was black. And this was a prominent black family, and none of them had black kids. None of them.
I feel like the answer really boils down to the answer to that question really boils down to this whole black mom, black dad thing. Because like I said, it's the women of the family that keep the culture. And for men, it's a little bit harder for them to maintain that culture. So when you have a black dad, they're not really maintaining that culture as well, especially because now we get into the nitty gritty, especially because when you look at how the vast majority of our population are treated where we live, where we're dispersed throughout America, we tend to have bad experiences growing up, particularly with black men as well. So they try not to include that into their family. They tend to assimilate into the culture of their spouse, and that breeds the child. So, and then on top of that, you have all these biases against black women, being uneducated, being hoes, being all this shit. So, of course, I feel like it's easy for them to lose that when they're dating someone outside of their race.
Yeah,
I feel you.
100%. And it's also just a matter of who's with the baby more, whose family.
Yeah, that too. The family part too, like
More. So you're going to be cultivated in that space,
nature and nurture,
that culture more. So, I mean, yeah, you definitely can be pro-black and date outside your race, but on the flip side, it sometimes
it can be hard.
Yeah, and for sometimes I do. Okay, let's be honest. I'm gonna say something that's gonna piss a lot of people off that's on my live. It's gonna probably make some of you guys upset, but I feel like that's probably the same reason why, as a black woman, don't get me wrong, you have to literally side eye a black man when he was with a white girl, and then you have to think for a second. Is he with her because he doesn't like black women, or because they fell in love? Because if it's because you fell in love, God, love who loves you. I don't care. Date who you want to date. Love who loves you. But if you're somebody who is doing it out of a space of, I just hate myself so much that I hate black women and I don't want to date one, then you're going to probably 9 times out of 10, you're dating somebody who thinks of you as a fetish, because no self-respecting person is going to get with somebody who thinks that poorly of their own people. Sorry. So I forgot. I lost my train of thought here. But so 9 times out of 10, you're a fetish. There's that. And, to listen to him sit there and belittle black women and talk about how, oh, you're better because black women are ghetto and ratchet. The first thing I would say to them is, okay, so why do you like white women? And if they only can answer with, oh, they're because black women are ghetto. No. I didn't ask you why you didn't like black women. I said, why did you like white women? Ask a colorist man why they like white women. They're not going to be able to tell you a reason why they specifically like white women. They're only going to tell you why it is they can't stand black women. They'll be like, oh, I don't like white women because black women are together. What? Oh,
I had some experiences. I'm a black guy that I know that only dates white women. And I heard him talk down about black women all the time. But it's the same black man that'll come to me and say, oh, but you, oh, you're different. Oh, but you, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Oh, God, you literally just hate yourself. He is as black as they come.
No, you're not different, Jada. You know what it is, Jada? That for some reason, because your ability to code switch so effectively, they assume
my code switch is fired.
You are more docile like white women. They assume that. They assume that they can, oh, you're pretty. I'm attracted to black women, but you don't have that black attitude I don't like. So you're different. You're just a really good
know. As soon as I walk into the doors of my job, I sound different. I'm a different person. I act different. I look different. I sound different. Because I have to. Because I'm living in Arizona. I can't talk like this at my job. The fuck? So yeah, I just think that's weird. Like, oh, I like you. You're cool. And then we hang out outside of work, and they're like, this is you? Yeah, like. Yeah, it's because so many of them are white. They can go into work and act the same way at work as they do out.
Mm-hmm.
because they're just accepted because they're white. I can't do that. Y'all can't do that. We can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Nah, I just think that shit's crazy.
That's just what it is. I feel like some black women aren't as effective in code switching, and there's nothing wrong with that because we should never have to code switch for anybody.
Right.
Accept us, but the sad reality is we do have to code switch, and because me, you, even Jaya, our family, Momo, the women in our family, Ashun, we're just really effective code switchers. So people automatically, oh, you're different. You're not like those black people. No, I'm just able to sound like you and emulate you, and that's why you think I'm different. That's what it is. So that's not a compliment. That's like, oh, so she's
Not at all.
you know.
And I don't think people understand it. They have it bad down here for sure, because I didn't go to the normal high school, but I could go hang out with everybody I knew who was at. I was at a magnet school, but I could go hang out with everybody who was at these other schools, and it was like, oh, and the statement I hate the most. Oh, you talk like a white girl. No,
Girl.
I don't talk like a white girl. I do not talk like a white girl. That is not a thing.
Shit.
You can say I
Jaya
talk.
and talking like a white girl don't even go in the same sentence.
Thank you. You can say that I speak like
Articulates her words, girl. You hear it, I hear it. I've heard. We've all heard. We sound like white girls.
I speak like an educated black woman. Yes, I do. I speak like an educated black woman because I will never let anyone, white people in general, hear me and try to find a reason to judge me or to call me ghetto. I will never give them that reason. I want them to think and to know that, oh yeah, she's educated. I can tell by the way she's speaking. I don't ever want to go into a job interview or go into these different places where I have to communicate and they are, oh no, because I know me and I like my hair, I like my weave, I like it to be long, but I love to wear my natural hair. And when I wear my
forgot my job trying to tell me my shit was too long. Bitch, it's not long enough. I this shit dragging on the floor.
Like I love to wear my natural hair, and when I wear my natural hair, I don't want them to prejudge me by my natural hair and say, oh, she just has to be that type of woman because she's a black woman with her natural hair out. And usually when white people see a black woman with natural hair, they automatically jump into, you have to be this pro-militant black woman, you have to be. No, it does not mean that. It just means that I'm embracing my hair just like the white woman who's standing next to me at work. And she's wearing her natural blonde hair. Does that mean she blonde hair, blue eyes, she wearing her natural hair? Does that mean that she's Hitler? She wants to follow her militant ways and be Hitler? Because I have my natural hair and this is what I look like. This is what my hair looks like. Like
Black culture is often seen as rebellious, but it really isn't. That's just who the fuck we are.
So being pro-black is not a problem.
When white people do it, it's okay though.
Right.
There's a lot of things that white people do that black people do that it's only okay if white people do it. A lot of them.
And we are taught at a young age that, okay, yes, you may see somebody do this, but you can't do that.
Yes.
You can't do that. You know you can't do that. And that's why as a female, it's like every time I have a job interview, I have to make sure, okay, yeah, a white woman can come in there and she can have her hair, she can come in with an afro wig on and nothing will ever be said. But if I come in with my afro blown out and my natural hair curly or big and like I like it, and all of a sudden it's, so I can't do that. But that white woman can come in with her hair curly. The Hispanic woman can come in with her hair curly and big and in its natural state. But if I do it, you can't do that.
Okay, you got it.
Judge you for that.
I want to say to that. One, I definitely get where you're coming from. It's just, I get where you're coming from, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten to the point where I don't want to work somewhere that tells me that being me is wrong. So I search for establishments that make me feel comfortable that I can do this. There's not a lot of them out there, but fuck you. I'm going to be me. I'm beautiful. So I gotta be my authentic self in your establishment. You don't deserve me. That's one thing.
I guess I can award my job for that. Like, that's one thing that they do all right. Like, when I show up with my natural hair, they're never like, or like trying to touch my shit or nothing. They're always like, "Oh, you look good today. I like, I like your hair." You know, it might be the, "Oh, how'd you get your hair to do that?" That shit is funny to me. But it's never anything like, "Oh no, you need to change your hair," or "That's not professional," or you know what I mean. So congrats to my job for that.
Well, I wish I could say that I've been in them environments. Like when my hair was natural, it was fine. And when my hair was in a wig, it was fine. But the minute that I use a hair wrap, Black women, we natural, we tend to put on hair wraps. And I'm not speaking on bonnets, I'm speaking of actual hair wrap, like
Yeah, I know what you're talking
hair
about.
wrap.
I never had a problem with those either.
And I went to work and they were like, "Well, no, you can't wear that." And I was like,
No, I've
"Why?"
had that.
"Well, we know that that's not your religion, so you can't wear that." I said, "How do you know? I've never
Do a hair wrap gotta do a
religion to
religion.
you.
It's your hair,
I
honey.
never stated
Like,
that.
some people do it for
You
religion.
don't know if I'm Muslim. You don't know what if I'm of any African religion that you don't know about. You don't know any of
How
this."
about this?
Bitch,
No,
I'm doing this shit to protect my
I'm gonna
scalp.
Exactly.
Fuck all that
Jaya,
shit.
that's your culture. You want to know why head wrap is your culture? Where you from? You're a Creole girl from Louisiana, right, baby? Aren't you? Okay, in Louisiana, Black women weren't allowed to show our hair. We had to wear wraps called tie-ons. So you're doing your culture. Why do you think even Mom Mary, if you look at Mom Mary, she's always wearing tie-ons. We get in trouble if we had our real hair shown. We can get fined, ticketed, thrown in jail, or even killed because they were so jealous of our curls. The white women were so jealous of our curls and our hair that they made their men make it a rule that we could not show our hair. So you are literally just expressing your culture. They cannot tell you cannot wrap to work.
It was a battle with me going back and forth with them about my hair wraps. Then we finally got to the consensus where I was like, "Well, I'm going to wear my hair wrap. So would y'all prefer it to be a certain color?"
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "I'll wear a black one. I wear a black one. I wear solid colors. I wear solid colors instead of the different patterns. I wear a solid color if that's what y'all prefer." "Okay, well, we want you to wear a black one." "Okay, perfectly fine, as long as I can wear my hair wrap, because what you're not going to do is tell me that is not who I am and that I can't wear a hair wrap. You don't know, because I never discussed my religion. I never discussed politics with anybody at work. So that is not something that you even know. All you know is that I am Black."
And they don't.
And it's just crazy because it's like, once again, I'm told you can't do that.
And you know
You're Black, you can't do that. But had I been of Indian culture, or I look Indian or Haitian, it
Which
wouldn't
one
have
of y'all
been.
brought up by how you have always been told just because they do it don't mean you can do it? Isn't it sad that Black parents have to go out of their way to teach their Black children that just because Connor and Andy are doing it, don't mean you can do it. Your Black ass to go to jail to get a slap on the wrist. You hear that all the time, don't you? Don't you hear that?
Hold up.
Because Sally and Jessica are doing it, don't mean Rakira can do it. If Rakira ass is going to jail. Sally and Jesse's gonna get a lawyer and they're gonna get the fuck out of jail and not even have it on their record. You are Black. You can't do what they can do. You are Black. That's something Black parents have to teach their kids. Isn't that sad?
Hold up. We are so off topic.
But it works.
It's on topic, but it's off topic because the topic is niggas ain't shit.
Niggas ain't shit. But it is. How did I get to that though? Because niggas just be out here ain't shitting.
This is true. They be out here ain't.
Well, my topic flies right into niggas ain't shit, honey, because my topic.
Okay, Jaya, what was your topic?
My topic, okay, it's really like a topic / question. Is like, okay, are men taught to be unfaithful while women are taught to accept it? Basically, push it over and say, okay, I should give him another chance, while men are basically taught to be who you want to be, date who you want to date. You could do whatever you want to do. You could be unfaithful. That's fine. And if she really love you, she gonna accept it. She gonna stay down.
Like I said, niggas ain't be shit. They ain't be shitting. They out here ain't shit.
They ain't be shitting out here. The fuck?
Shit and ain't and niggas go together.
Anyways.
Go back.
I don't really have too much to say on that, just because I don't know. I haven't had too much dating experience. Additionally, I don't take shit from nobody. Not nobody. I will walk away so motherfucking quick. Like, I do that shit all the time. Do, 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 do. Gone. Out the bitch. We out this bitch. I don't accept any kind of disrespect. Like, nope. Nip that shit right in the butt. So, what I will say is, I feel like mothers can often be more accepting of what their sons do versus what their daughters do. So, a boy can go out and fuck 17 different women, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, just don't get him pregnant." But if a girl go out and fuck 17 different niggas, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're a hoe. Don't do this. You're not acting like a housewife. You're never gonna find a man." Like,
we're taught that our whole in the beginning is finding a man. They're not
right.
taught to find a wife. They're taught to live their life and wait to have a wife and like sow their oats and enjoy life first. And we're taught, do what you got to do so you can find a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's problematic as fuck.
Tell me about it. That's how I feel, and that's why this was my topic, because I just feel like we as women, especially in the Black culture, we are taught that, you know, we cannot handle ourselves a certain way in public. Even case in point, when we went out, when y'all were here, and we went out when we went out to Vegas Vape, and Mama was like, "Y'all going out like that? Y'all going out just like that?" And it was kind of like, you don't ask the boys why they go out dressed like that. You don't question them on what they want to wear. You just go buy it, or you say okay, or you tell them they look nice. But as a female, if I decide I want to go out and show a little skin, now, oh, you're gonna give a man the wrong impression. Well, why is a man not taught to not think of me in any sexual way just because I have skin showing? Because that also ties into why they want to turn around and say, oh, rape culture. Okay, well, you also have to teach these men. You turn around and say, as soon as a woman comes out in anything that she wants to wear, I don't care if she goes to the club in a bikini and a mini skirt. That does not mean I leave this open to tell you that I want sex.
I want you to touch me.
I want to be touched. I want to.
Instead of getting in trouble for, I guess, asking for it or for making them turned on, shouldn't you teach your boys to have more self-control? Isn't it a little barbaric to control yourself that much that you must?
It's barbaric as fuck.
But like, they are taught that they are entitled to do whatever they want to do, which is why I say they're basically taught that, okay, yeah, you can do what you want to do. You can cheat on her. You can cheat on her, and that's disrespecting her. Like, you're taught that it's okay to disrespect this female, any female, when you're not, just because that's not a female that you think you should respect, you're taught that it's okay to disrespect her. And women are taught that, okay, yeah, if your husband go out and do that, okay, well, you love him, don't you? Even when you get him from, even when you
your husband went out and did that, you doing something wrong. Your husband went out and cheated on you, doing something wrong.
Exactly, but that's when you go get, and then it could be advice from family members, your family members, friends. They all, the first thing out of everybody's mouth is, "But you love him, don't you? You got to stick it out. You should."
Or what? Having sex with him enough? Were you cooking for him?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it always
to keep your dick in your pants? Come on now, cook for yourself. Cook for yourself. Go get you some motherfucking McDonald's or some shit. I don't know.
Men to be men. They teach men to be coddled, and they teach women to be efficient. There are things that women had to get up. Girls, we had to get up. We had to cook. We had to clean. We were expected to do these life skills, and we were expected to learn these things, where boys were coddled by their mothers. So they're basically just like learning now how to be efficient human beings on their own. Whereas women, we knew this the entire time. You know, the ancient, mom gets jealous of her daughter when her daughter comes to age trope. Like, treat the son better, love the son, baby the son. The daughter starts to look a little bit too, you're outstaging me a little bit because I'm not as young as you. You're pretty. You're coming into your own. I'm gonna be jealous, and I'm gonna treat you like an other. And I'll make sure you get your shit together. You get the fuck out of this house because I'm too jealous. That's the mom trope. And for the son is, this is my baby. I don't want nobody to take my baby. And remember, son, no one's gonna love you as much as I can love you. And that's why you still have grown men saying, no one above my mama.
Mommy.
Boys. Grown men putting their
Mommy.
mother above their significant other because their mother taught them no one's gonna outstage mama. And so a lot of men are looking for another mama. And you're not gonna be able to outstage their mama. It's their fucking mom. Who's gonna outstage your mom? No, you shouldn't be looking for
mommy is not my competition, honey.
But I think that men also have a problem with a woman coming into their life and saying, hey, once it's that time, if we get married or we're about to get married and we say, hey, we got to discuss priority, like our marriage comes priority. We come priority to each other before our parents do. And men take that as you saying, I'm telling you to say, fuck your mama. Don't do nothing for her. That's what they hear.
That's how they
That's
take
literally
it.
what they hear, though. That's literally what they hear. They hear,
fuck your mom.
Basically,
that's what they hear.
That's what they hear. And it's like, I'm not telling you to write her off. I'm not telling you. It's the fact that we are now married. We are coming into our own relationship. I will not do the things. I will not do everything your mother does because that was your mother.
That was
your wife.
Your mom wiped your ass. You want me to do that too? Your mom did. Okay? I'm your partner. We are equals. We are together.
You want Nini? You want Nini?
You want Titty? You want Boo Boo? Huh? Like, but yeah,
they are taught that is okay. And their mothers also come into it saying, oh no, you can always come to me. She don't know what she's talking about. You don't treat your mama like that. She don't know. You could come back and cook. She ain't gonna treat you like your mama treats you. You know that. And Lord knows, with me bringing a son into this world, I always tell myself I will not be one of those mothers. I want him to be able to respect women. I want him to be able to do on his own, respect where a woman's hard work comes from. And hopefully you find that woman who's going to respect where you come from as well. I just don't, I have a fear of raising like him trying to catch on, hearing other people when he goes to visit other friends or other family members and hearing the way they talk, or they may talk to him a certain kind of way, because we have that bad in our own family, actually in our own family, where the women coddle the boys so much. And I'm so scared of even letting him be around them for long periods of time. I'm not speaking over weekends or spending a few days with them, but like spending real time with them. And that's what they're doing. And I don't want them to feel like I'm keeping them out, or that, oh, she just thinks she better because of her parents and she thinks she know. No, I don't think I know. I'm a new parent. I'm a first-time mom. This is it for me. But I also know what I don't want my child to be. And what I've seen happen, I don't want that for him. I don't want him to feel like a woman has to do everything and make every step. I don't want him to feel like that. I want him to be independent. I want him to know this is what I do.
You got to do what's best for your children. Our parents were flawed. Our parents did not know a lot. They say they knew a lot, but you know how ignorant they are to so many different things. And it's just we're gonna get more in the know and more progressive as we go. Like, I will circle back to Alyssa with the whole biracial thing. I know our family is color struck. I do not want my uncle telling my daughter she's pretty because she's mellow yellow. The first time he saw her, the first thing our uncle said to my baby, oh my God, her skin is so light and pretty. I hope it stays this light. I know I'm not raising my daughter to feel that way, but I feel like men telling her she's better because of it, and people telling her she's better because of it. I'm so afraid I'm gonna raise one of those biracial girls who think that their shit don't stink because
I'm just gonna be like that. With all the beautiful Black women in our family, she ain't gonna be like that. I understand that is a real fear, and that's mildly horrifying.
But it is a real fear, because I can watch one of my own and hear how, I don't know, maybe it's just a little kid thing right now, and I pray it's just a little kid thing right now, but every girl that he says he has a crush on is white.
The who?
They're white.
Oh.
And the one little black girl, one of the little black girls, he was like, "No, I'm not interested in her. I don't like the way she chews. She chew her food with her mouth open. I don't like that." And I'm like, I pray that that is the reason. I really do. I pray that that is the reason, and I pray that you're surrounded by nothing but black women. And he attached himself once again to a light skinned woman who was visiting around the family. He gravitated towards her like, I have a crush on you. And it's like really, really scary because I'm like, okay, I have a friend. He attached himself to her, but she's light skinned with really long hair.
Mhm.
That makes me nervous. That makes
Sometimes
me so nervous because it's like, okay,
know
that may
that.
be your preference, but when you get older, are you
Don't
going
make
are you
sense.
going to still respect women of a darker skin tone because she's not a light bright, so to speak? She's
Yeah.
not white and she's not a light bright. Are you
And
still
you
going
know
to
what a
respect her?
preference is? A preference says I prefer this, but I, given the opportunity, I would, if I liked it, if it tastes good enough, I'll go with it. Like me, I
Right.
prefer black men, but if a white man treats me good, I'm going to date a white man. I prefer black men, but if a Hispanic man treats me good, I'm going to date a Hispanic man. That's a preference. It's okay to say, for me, I've noticed more of the women I find attractive happen to have a lighter complexion, a looser grade of hair, maybe light colored eyes. I've noticed that. That's my preference. But if a badass dark skinned girl comes along, I'm not gonna go, oh, I can't do it because she's dark skinned. That's when it's weird. That's when it's no longer a
Right.
preference. And when it goes far enough to start bashing, that's when it's like, dude, are you sure it's not something deeper there than that? So I do hope that he, even if that is his preference, that seems to be who he just gravitates more towards. I hope that, yeah, he still respects black women and he isn't closed off to ever dating somebody who's a darker complected person, because that's something deeper. To close yourself off 100% to dating, especially your own race, something is not connecting up here, right? Something's wrong, you know? That's a problem. It's weird.
Nah, I'm gonna take this in a different direction a little bit. So you
Make it.
guys know how in the movies where there's always a little boy and he gets caught masturbating and there's a talk and they're like, oh, it's okay, kind of thing, right? Why do we never address
Female
when
masturbation.
girls masturbate?
And it
Because they
happens.
do
It
it.
is normal.
We
Or
all
women,
know that
or
we've all
women
done it.
even coming
They
into
all do
age
it.
in general. Why do we
But
not
we don't
address
have
women with period? Why do we not
no,
address female periods? Why do
there's no
we not address that? Why do we not
there's no
address
public
females?
space. So we don't
None.
have that. We don't have that space. First of all, like you said, yeah, women in general, we don't have that space. Women in general, we don't have a space where are allowed to come of age. We really don't have that space. But particularly women of color. Women of color, we are just automatically seen as grown from the time we're a little girl. That's the truth. That's why we don't have that space, because you're fast. If you shaking your butt and you're a 6-year-old, you being too fast. No, she's just moving her butt because she's dancing. She doesn't know any better. We are just automatically seen, just like black men are automatically seen as dangerous, even as a child. A young black girl, a young Mexican girl, a young Puerto Rican girl is automatically a sex symbol, even when they're young. So we don't have the space to come of age. We're just always seen as that threat, that sexual threat or that violent threat. And I think that's probably why, as particularly for women of color, we don't even have any coming of age films, anything like that. We don't have that space. It's hard enough for women, but women of color, it's like, man, we don't we don't get that leeway.
But the one film that they did try to release as a coming of age for a black woman, Netflix. What was the name of that movie?
Talking cuties, that shit was a
Cuties.
mess.
And then they sexualized her. It was like, okay, I had you not sexualized her, this would have been an amazing movie. Like,
It
this
was
actually would have
crazy
been a really
because
good movie had you not sexualized her. But you turn her into this girl who she had her period and she just thought, oh, I should just go grind. And the
That's
we
shit
don't
bad.
we don't think
that
like that.
was
It's
crazy
not,
to
is
me
that
because so many people are backing that movie up when they was having close-ups of the little girls bumping and grinding, and then the close-up of her taking a picture of her cootie cat. That is not the first thing you do when you have your period. That is not. And she was supposed to be 11. I smacked the fuck out
And
of
my thing was why did it have to be? Why did it have to be the little black girl who chose to do this? Why didn't any of the other girls do this as well? Why was it the little black girl who chose to, okay, I had my period, now I want to send naked pictures and I want to do this and why was it the little black girl who had the idea of, oh no, we should get on the floor and do the crybaby, we should do this? Why was it the little black girl who, through all the sexual references, when the guard was catching him, she was the one who grinded on him, a grown man?
I can't really from the movie, you guys. Jada told me about it, and that was enough to disgust me that I never saw it. I saw trailers, and I was like, I can't do it. Never saw it.
And I was trying to watch it.
Of the doubt because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's just a beautiful coming of age story," and then I saw it, and I was like, "This is extremely sexual. Mm-hmm. This is not how I was when I got my period, and
this is not what I was like when I got my period.
I wasn't doing all that. The fuck." So,
I had to watch
me uncomfortable. I'm not even gonna lie.
Story, and this is what happened.
It was not relatable to me. It wasn't relatable. That's the point of a coming of age story is that it's relatable. It gives you an insight to what the life of a pubescent little girl goes through. That ain't what most of us went through. That was nasty. That was bad. That was not, no.
That really made me uncomfortable. I shouldn't.
Give me a question, you guys. When was the first time that you realized that you were being sexualized? Like, how old were you when you realized that people were looking at you as a sexual object? And how did that feel?
I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, probably around the same time.
I was 10, like I said. Y'all may or may not remember, but I've been having big old bitty since the time I was 10. By the time I was a C cup. I was a 32 C cup at 11 years old. So I had been being sexualized since about 10, but I never understood it. I know it made me feel really uncomfortable, so disgusted to have men like, ooh, trying to holler at me, and I'm 10.
It's always the old men.
It's always the old creepy men that you're just like, dude, ew.
Yes, I've had an old man walk up on me and tell me I smell good. He was like, you smell good. Mind you, I was young then, at least middle school, maybe.
I want to say in middle school is probably when I realized, like 8th grade, is when I realized that people were looking at me. I was labeling, but y'all know I was skinny, flat. But in 8th grade, I was starting to get a little tiny little booty. You know, I had a little B cup, a little something. And I had this teacher. I hope he is fired. I hope this man is in prison. He was a pedophile.
That's a whole pedophile right there.
He was a pedophile. He had sexual intercourse with a friend of mine at that school. I hope he's in jail. I hope somebody said something. Because, we was in and out of the state. There was nothing really that I could do by the time that I had found out. But then it really wasn't until I got to maybe my junior year in high school. Oh my God. No, it was my senior year.
Go get something checked.
I took a weightlifting class.
1 week? That's not a brag. That is definitely not a flex.
And I was one of 3 girls in a class of 25 boys. And that's really when I realized, oh shit, this is what the rest of my life is going to be like.
Yeah.
Your little belly.
It ain't matter if I was wearing gym shorts and a fucking oversized t-shirt, or if I was wearing leggings, or it didn't matter. And it wasn't even just the boys, it was the teachers sometimes. And it was just, no.
And it's sad that as a female, you can't even be around a group of men or boys in general without being sexualized.
Thank you for calling me gorgeous.
Overall, bitch, shut the fuck up. Overall,
asking this.
Overall, when it comes to sexuality,
Sorry.
Overall, when it comes to sexuality, it's always more acceptable for men than it is for women. And that shit just don't make no sense. Because, like I said, a guy will be out here not only fucking 17 different women, but playing with their emotions. Saying, oh yeah, I care about you. Oh yeah, it's this, it's that. And be on some bullshit when a girl can be honest with what they doing, who they talking to, how they living life.
I'm just showing off on camera a little bit.
I think it's like I think it's just I don't know. I don't even know how to I can't even come up with an excuse for that. I can't express
Thank you.
that in any way. Like I don't know what to say to that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
Because
I think I have another topic, you guys. Y'all ready for this?
What it is.
Is
what's up?
Chelsea so beautiful? Like what God crafted her from like can't name one thing girls aren't made fun of for.
She
I said I'm about to lose people on my live because I'm about to say this. I don't like Trump. So if y'all like Trump, y'all might not want to follow me or be on here no more.
Hey,
Well,
yo,
I don't
fuck
either. So I guess we ain't gonna get no subscribers because
Shit,
it's
no,
a
for
mutual
real.
feeling.
Bruh.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not
orange ass
obsessed with
motherfucking
Biden
nigga.
either. That's the thing about it. But the thing I think is so interesting, I feel like there's no such thing as a Biden supporter. There's just people who hate Trump. You know what I'm saying? And then there's people who are Trump supporters. They have him on their cars. They have tattoos. They have him. It's like he's God, and this shit's weird.
Hats and
Like,
shirts and shoes
He
and
is the
tattoos on their
Antichrist.
dicks
He
and
is
shit. Oh,
the
they
Antichrist.
Donald Trump.
There's
It
no
really-
way one man should be able to pull all these people and make them do what they do right now and actually use him as an excuse. He is literally the epitome of the Antichrist. That man could make them Trump supporters set the world on fire and they gonna say they did it because the election was rigged.
Yeah.
Literally.
And I
Because no one does research. Research.
You know, it's not even
Research would have solved
in front of
these
their fucking
past
face
4 years. We would have no problems in the country if people just did their motherfucking research.
Or maybe use it's two words they don't use. Common sense.
That as well. Thank you.
This man has had it come out of his mouth multiple times. Lies and lies and lies. And they have been proven lies by his own cabinet, by the people who were even surrounding him, who would come back and say that is not true.
They don't
facts are. And they swear up and down. Well, Trump said. Well, Trump
The
said.
2016 election was definitely rigged. This one, however, was not.
You're right.
And that's just that.
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know, Jada. Antifa.
Okay.
Antifa, we don't know. We don't
Where
know.
am I?
Antifa, my ass. Antifa was a motherfucking Facebook group. I don't even think they got a website. And he was like, "Ooh, they terrorists."
It's anti-fascist organization, right? But that's not Black Lives Matter. And a lot of times they kind of group the two together, and it's just like
that don't make no sense. Make it make sense. Apples and oranges. Not even apples and fucking
squash.
Motorboats. The fuck?
That's apples and squash.
Apples and squash.
That mug ain't even a fruit. That's a whole vegetable. That has nothing to do with nothing.
Oh my God.
I have a really controversial topic, but I don't think that we are ready. The topic is the separation between African Americans and Africans.
Rip.
Thing down here.
That's a fucking problem everywhere. Like, especially on social media. I don't understand. In my mind, I don't understand why there's such a polar like issue, especially since we're in America and they all hate us equally.
Yeah, here we're just
at the end of the day, you might be full-blooded African, you might be Nigerian, you might know where you might be lucky enough to know where you came from, but guess what? To them, you're just a blackie black.
No, black.
Well, I think from what I hear, from what I understand, when they came to America initially and they weren't like integrated in the culture, they like when they were straight off the boat, much like Haitians, they were teased by the kids here. They were teased ruthlessly by the kids here. And I think that that's interesting. I'm not saying it definitely happened. I know you guys have heard that happen before, but what I think is interesting for me is that Caribbeans are completely left out of the conversation, but they tease them too. And to be honest, I'm from Louisiana. I don't know what the demographic is there now. Maybe there's a lot bigger influx of Africans in Louisiana now. But when I was growing up in Louisiana, I'm gonna just say the first time I've ever met an African person is when I left Louisiana and I moved to Florida. And I noticed that when Africans come to America, they kind of go to places like the American Northeast. They kind of go to places like Florida. And in those places, I will line up 20 Black people and maybe one to be American. They're all Caribbean people. So they heard the American accent and just said, oh, this is just Americans. But even Africans who were raised here have American accents. So it doesn't necessarily mean it was just an American. But Caribbeans are completely left out of this conversation, and African Americans take the brunt of it. And I thought that was, I think that's very interesting, because it's just like, no, more than likely it was probably a Caribbean person teasing you, to be honest. It probably was, because you guys don't really go places where there's African Americans as much. And then on the other token is, yeah, we definitely, there were African Americans who had to have been participating in that as well. But you're 25 now. They were 11. You don't tell you know, you're 25. You know what I'm trying to say? So
why would Black Americans have this kind of animosity towards Africans when growing up we were called African
booty scratchers too? Yeah, but they don't, because here's the thing. Like I said, it's we grew up in a different environment. We grew up in an environment where we were the Africans there. Well, we didn't grow up in places that were populated by Africans. We grew up in places that were populated by mostly just African Americans. So to everybody else, we were the African booty scratchers. We were the go home. So like my ex-boyfriend, no secret, he's Liberian. You guys know this. He's African. And I would always say to him, you know, I get where you're coming from, because of the fact that I grew up in Louisiana. I was told I was an African booty scratcher. And in Florida, I was an African booty scratcher. I was go back to Africa. I got teased just like you did too, but it's just because of the fact that there were no Africans where I was. So I've never teased an African in my life, and I've gotten teased. So now I'm an adult, having had never teased an African in my life, been the one told I chase lions, oh, blah, 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 and all that. I'm not African, I'm American. Being told all this, and now I have African people who hate me too, as if you know. So I just feel like the conversation really needs to be had that, one, it's all Black people doing this to each other. We're all shitting on each other equally, but I do feel like African Americans are catching the brunt of it. Like we're catching the most,
because we getting it from both sides.
You know that I've heard from a few Africans, older ones, not ones my age, but older ones, that they feel like we are entitled. That we are entitled because we are Americans. We are entitled, and we complain too much, basically. Like that they have been through just as much, but they don't complain. They just make the best of it. And that we complain about what goes on, and we are entitled, and we feel like we are entitled to this American lifestyle, so to speak. For me, it's like, if I never grew up in Africa, I don't know what you went through, but I know what my people who were on slave ships went through.
I understand.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to make this clear. I'm going to say this, and this also happens to be the same reason why I feel like a lot of times people say things, and people who are of African, sometimes, not all, I don't want to paint them all the same brush, because there's so many that are just, we're just here. But the ones who just aren't here with us, when they say things like that, it's hurtful. It's because you didn't grow up in proximity to white people like I did. You don't know why we are so like Black in your face, protect
traumatized.
We're Black too, and don't take African culture. We're so protective of it because we've seen how sharing has gone for us. We've been around these white people the most. We know how they are.
It's not even just that though. It's the fact that
to our culture because it was stripped from us one time.
There we go.
You can't do it.
We lost that culture.
And they're like,
We
why?
lost a part of us.
And
it sucks not knowing. It sucks not knowing what we are.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I was just about to say. We don't know where we come from.
I was born in Virginia.
I don't know where they come. I don't know if my people came from Africa.
The most recent ancestors that I know of were slaves. I don't know where they came from. You know what I mean? And that kind of fucks me up sometimes.
What I want to say though, one thing on the flip side to their defense, what I do want to say is this. You have to examine, although we do have every reason to complain when we complain, and it's so fucked up for them to say otherwise, that whole entitlement thing, I don't know if it's true or not, but maybe it is true because when you were around something for long enough, it rubs off on you. We've been around white people the most. We might just be acting like entitled little brats, and it may be very off-putting to the rest of the diaspora. They may be looking at us going, you guys are fucking brats. There's something about our personalities that may just be off-putting, like this. We may be arrogant because what are white people at large? Arrogant, entitled, and selfish in so many ways. And sometimes being around that energy, just like we were saying earlier, when you have some people who have white moms, sometimes will absorb that energy within themselves and act in that manner. So maybe unbeknownst to us, we really are sometimes coming across entitled and acting, like we deserve everything. So I'm not going to take that away from them, but I'm also not going to sit here and stand by and let somebody tell me I can't participate in, I can't participate in protecting African culture. I'm going to protect that because even though I don't know where in Africa I'm from, I know I'm African and I get to gatekeep my culture. I get to gatekeep my culture on this land. I get to gatekeep the parts of me that I did reserve from Africa. Like in America, we've been braiding since the beginning, since we got here. That's there's two things that we held on to from Africa, and you guys don't even know this, but that's food and that's hair. And I only learned that was food by dating an African because they made so many dishes that we make that we just call it something else. We call it soul food. We call it gumbo. They call it soup. We call it jambalaya. They call it jollof. Everything, we call it dirty rice. They call it dry rice. Everything we make, we must have just remembered that shit from where we were from and just kept making it and just passed it through. So I'm never gonna let somebody.
That is actually how it happened.
Yeah.
It just became like an Americanized dish and a changed dish. Technically speaking, Americanized in a sense, kind of like Asians, where they have passed on their dishes as well, but it becomes Americanized in a sense.
Americanized.
So,
but the reason
here in Louisiana became mixed with French cooking, so it became Creole. Everything was Creole.
And that's because
the slave masters would only give the slaves their leftovers to make food from. So it's the same, but it's not.
You had to make it do what it do.
We had to use different ingredients and adapt to make it different.
But we still were able to hold on to so much of those flavors.
And that's exactly why. Although I love Africans, I love them. I have some friends who are truly African and love them to death. But I will never let anybody, African, white, black, it don't matter, make me feel bad for feeling like I'm entitled to something. Because no matter what, it's because I'm going to fight for my culture because they did so much to strip it from my ancestors. So I'm going to fight for that. I'm going to fight for my culture. I'm going to fight for my right to be here. I'm going to fight for my right to be.
Because you don't have the right to do that. I say I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. Like you will not strip me. You will not make me feel bad for feeling like I am entitled to my own culture, that I am entitled to fight for being Black and being who I am. You will not ever make me feel bad by saying I am entitled or that I feel like white people owe us something. You're damn right they owe us something, because my ancestors couldn't do what this so amazing country, so to speak, should have allowed them to do.
I don't know if somebody
them of everything before you brought them here. Their dignity, their everything, their religion.
hold on real quick. I just need you guys, because I realize I have a bunch of my followers in here. I think they're followers of mine, and I want to make videos on this topic, but every time I make a video about this, I'm about to say something, a specific topic, I literally get so much hate, and I literally have people telling me I'm lying about it. They don't think that I'm actually Afro-Native. They don't think that my dad's side is Native American. They think I'm lying every time I say that, and I get so much shit because I'm dark and
That's just because everybody says that, but just because somebody say that don't mean it's a lie.
A lie.
Right.
It bothers me because so many people say that they are mixed with Native and they're not. So people look at me, oh, look at this black girl. There's no way. She's just trying to not. No, I'm the blackest black girl there is. I am also Native American. It's true, folks. Thanks. All right, back to what you were saying. So I'm gonna make my fucking videos about it.
Nah, I think at some point in time I had made a comment on Instagram or some shit stating that my biological father is Dominican and Puerto Rican or whatever, and they were like, "You're not black. You're Dominican and Puerto Rican, bitch."
If you say you black, you black.
Not only that,
Dominicans and Puerto Ricans are
black.
Black.
Your mother is
my
black.
mother is black. My whole family is
okay.
Black.
You can be black and Hispanic at the same time. People
that's the problem though. Because when you apply for jobs and you're doing the census and everything, you gotta pick Hispanic or Latina, or Hispanic or not Hispanic. And if you put not Hispanic, then you could put black. I always put black because I'm not about to say, oh yeah, I'm Hispanic.
But you know, the problem is that society groups those Dominican, Puerto Rican, instead of just saying, oh, you know, you can be Afro-Latina, or you know, you can be Hispanic and black, you know, you can be mixed with something else in black. It's always just identified as black or you're foreign. Either black, white, or foreign, because that's what they like to say. That's what men like to say. Oh, I got me a foreign. When somebody's Dominican and Puerto Rican.
I don't like that word.
Even females use that word. Even females say it. Even females identify. If you're not black or white, they want to say, or Hispanic, Mexican, oh, you foreign. Which is why if you said you were Dominican or Puerto Rican, they were so quick to tell you, oh, you're not really black. Because they want to jump to, oh, you foreign, but if I'm Dominican,
I just don't know how you can
Rican, they are Afro-Latinos in a Dominican and Puerto Rican, they can be Afro-Latina. I don't know what you're getting at. It's like
I know ain't nobody finna tell Amarla Negative that she not black.
But they try, but they do try. That's just like Cardi B.
They try to tell Cardi B that they're not black, but you look at them.
They're not black because they say that, oh, I'm Dominican, and she's like, in Amara, she's like, I'm Afro-Latina. And that's what she says, literally out her own mouth. And they try to tell her that she's not black. And it's like, she's definitely black. She's black. You can't stop somebody from claiming they black because you don't find that race or her culture.
I got some messages I want to address. I think these are good questions. So somebody said, why can't we all just recognize each other as human beings without a tag? And I want to answer this real quick, and you guys can harp off of this or give me your opinion. What I want to say is this. In a perfect reality, that is a utopia. I wish we could all just address each other as human beings, but in reality, that is not the case. Also, there's a factor of culture. I feel like we should enjoy and embrace the fact that all of us are different. There's nothing wrong with seeing color. Seeing color is great. Seeing the rainbow is great. It's part of the human condition that makes it the best. It's part of being alive. It's great. I love exploring new cultures. I love seeing different people. It would be boring if we all looked alike. So on the flip side, one, it's amazing. Why would you ever want us all to be the same? And two, no, that's a dream world that you live in. But for people of color, we get tagged automatically. We get seen automatically as our color first. And then second, everything else. So that's what I have to say about that. But you guys, why can't we just recognize each other as human beings and live without tags?
It's how this country, first of all, our cultures are completely different. So you have to acknowledge everybody's different culture. But also it's about the history of what has been built on across the world. This is not even just America, across the world. In history, there was never at any point in time that anybody was just recognized as a human. Not one time in history was anybody to be recognized as just a human would strip everybody of their culture, of their differences. So it's kind of like, yeah, that would probably be okay if you could say, oh, she's just a human, but I'm more than a human as well because we not the same. I'm not the same as Billy Joe who stays next door to me or Jose who stays two doors down either. Our cultures are not the same. So we cannot consider ourselves human.
I'm finna hurt some feelings. I'm finna hurt some feelings with this one. I genuinely feel like if you're one of those people that say, I don't see color, why can't we all just get along? Why do we have to have these labels? I genuinely believe that you're cultureless and you live a very boring life. Because you should be able to acknowledge your differences from other people without being disrespectful.
Not acknowledging your humanity. It's quite the opposite. So that doesn't make sense. So no, us saying that we should be able to see our color and our race, that's not erasing their humanity.
The big word here, the word of the day is respect.
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 It's about seeing each other as humans. It's about respecting the cultures. And actually, you should see us as humans because, in all honesty, let's be real. Certain cultures on this in this world do not see us, aka white people, do not even.
I mean, yes, you should see us as human, but at the same time, don't try to denote our culture because
you can't see us as human until you recognize that we are black, and that's just period. Until you recognize my culture, you can't see me as human.
Don't come on a black woman's post and say, why can't we see each other as humans? Ask your ancestors that.
We could take this thing back because
at the end of the day, if someone is Asian, I'm going to acknowledge that they're Asian, but I'm going to respect their culture.
Maybe
I'm not
they want
good at math. You seem like you're good at math. No, I'm not.
Maybe the question would have been better formed had it been more of a why can't we see each other how maybe like Canadians? Because honestly, that is a big question that I always ask. Like Canadians, like
someone said, did you think the Africans killed Africans? Honey,
I agree with Jai. Hold up. I agree with Jai because in Canada, if you see a black Canadian or a white Canadian, they're Canadian. They're going to say
he's Canadian.
They're not African
Justin Bieber says Canadian.
Guys, tell you something, people. I'm one of the most, I think people who talk about race more and issues when it comes to homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, people who talk about it are literally the least racist people. It's the ones who want to sweep it under the rug like it doesn't happen for the problem.
There you go. There you go.
That is my problem. People who don't want to address the issue.
Don't act like it don't happen. If you act like it don't happen, you're a part of the problem.
Exactly. That's just like
slavery. Just stop talking about it. You're a part of the problem. No, it has to be talked about. People have to understand that you have to accept and respect other people's culture.
All right, you guys, that's all the time we have for today. We want to thank you guys so much for coming to us and watching this video. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more of us talking shit, and comment topics that you guys think that would be interesting for us to talk about. Follow us on all of our social media. I am Rakaira on Instagram, Twitter, and on TikTok. I am Chelsea Rakaira. Jada?
Oh. I am Jai with 3 eyes, period, Tari. Follow me on everything. Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, that's it. Don't follow me on Snapchat.
I'm kind of a sleazeball. I only got Instagram. But it's _mousy with 3 E's 21.
Okay, until next time, we'll see you next time.
Until next time, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
In the mall with him, I'ma have a ball with him. Somebody call Rihanna, I'ma buy some draws with him. He's with the state.